Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Another episode here, episode 154. Man, wasn't that long ago. We were doing our first episode, right, right. Partner? But yeah, a long time ago. But time flies when you're having fun. I'm glad you're here with us for another exciting edition. Welcome to our little corner of the world where we like to talk wrestling, bring people in and talk wrestling. And we got a guest today. We'll get to that in a second. Before we go on, I am your host, Never Wrong, Nick Bull. So glad you could join us. I'd be remiss if I did not mention my tag team partner and co-champ of the For Frequency's Sake Network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing?
Man, I am doing good. Another good wrestling weekend and a little on the tired side, but that's always.
That happens when you get old.
Yeah.
You get tired.
Very much so.
I think we can both attest to that. No, another week in the books. Of course, a lot of wrestling going on all over the place. Whether it's in the independent scene or it's the big boys, there's plenty of stuff going on. But we're glad you found us here at the Card Subject to Change. Before we go any further, let's let you know we're powered by Lopez Pizza. We're built by Durham Remodeling. We're colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and we're protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. CZ, I want you to bring in our guest, introduce him.
Absolutely.
Let's tell the fans what we're going to talk about today.
We are going to conquer another episode with a gentleman who considers himself more than a conqueror, hence the name of the episode today. He's been on the show once before in a short form when we were in Waterloo for Absolute Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Welcome into the studio, more than a conqueror, Alvin Falcone. Alvin, how are you today, my friend?
I'm wonderful, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Like CZ said, we've had you on before for a very short time, but we got a little more time with you here today. So I'm going to treat you like a first-time guest because, I mean, you've been on before, but you're a first-time guest here in the studio. I'm going to ask you the same question I ask all of our other first-time guests. Why professional wrestling? What got you hooked? What's kept you in it? Why? What was it?
Whew. It's a loaded question, Nick.
I know it is.
I mean,
it's a hard one. I know.
To keep it short form, professional wrestling has been the only constant in my life. It's been there when I left it. It's been there when I've been down and dirty with it. It's just been with me my entire life, just a constant. That's why I chose it. I feel like it's something that I personally can excel in. Not even I think, I know I can excel in it. Given my own personal background and things, I just think that professional wrestling is just such a unique sport. It's art and sport mixed together, which to me, that's the beauty of it. So yeah, that's why professional wrestling. I think what got me into it, I would say like my family, my mom, my dad, we would watch it together when I was younger. And then my interest grew as theirs faded away. And it's still kind of the same way now. I'll still talk with them about it, but they're just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. Right. But that's who got me into it, why. But yeah, short form, keep it short.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer there. I just love hearing how other people got into this thing that we all love and are going to talk about here today. I think it's such a unique thing. People love it for different reasons. Right there, you said it was a constant. I love that answer. I love that answer.
Let me ask you this: what is your earliest memory, pro wrestling wise? Who do you remember first seeing? What are some of the matches you remember early on?
Oh man, I don't know if I'd be able to tell you matches specifically. It's only moments.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe my earliest recollection or earliest memory was I want to say maybe early 2004, maybe 2005. It was a SmackDown episode. I only remember it because it was the Fist, Bring Back the Fist.
Yes.
Best SmackDown set ever. Bring Back the Fist. And it was the Undertaker making his entrance. So I just remember seeing all the smoke on the ground and the camera panning up to this behemoth of a man, I thought. And I was terrified, intrigued, everything, every mixed emotion you have, I was that in one moment. And I was like, mine. This is mine. This is what I'm doing. That's my earliest memory. If I could pin down a match, maybe like a random Chavo Guerrero match.
Ooh.
On like Velocity. I think that's like my earliest match that I remember.
That's digging deep. That's a good one.
That's a deep cut. I know.
That is a deep cut.
when I was younger, I loved Chavo Guerrero. So I was always trying to find him anywhere I could. That was before YouTube and stuff, so I couldn't look him up anywhere. So it was like, okay, I guess I just see it on TV. That's the only place I'll be able to see him. So I think a random Chavo Guerrero match on Velocity is the first match I remember. Yeah, that moment going back, that moment of The Undertaker making his entrance, the music, the theatrics. Yeah, that is my first memory.
Okay, so you're talking Chavo Guerrero. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I need you to give us your best "Ooh Chavo" from his beginning of his entrance music.
Oh man, okay. I'll do a little story, and then I'll tell you right now, you're not going to get it out of me.
Hey, we appreciate your honesty.
I thought about it. Someone in my family was obsessed with Chavo. So we would always, whenever we saw this person in my family, we would always do the beginning of his music. I almost did it. You almost got it for me. But we would always do the beginning of it, and they would hate it. They would freak out every time we did it because we were just poking and prodding them. And we went to a live event. Did not know Chavo was going to be there. And all of a sudden you just hear I'm not doing it. You hear it, and we all just go, this person in my family is just freaking out, going nuts. And that might have fueled the fire for my early love of Chavo Guerrero, but yeah, maybe in person I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm guessing if you like Chavo, you had to dig Eddie Guerrero stuff too, right?
Of course. It took me a long time to even though they tagged together, and I mean they literally have the same name. I did not realize that they were real life family members. Mm-hmm. It took me forever to figure out. Eventually, obviously, being a child at that time, and Chavo obviously always typically being the heel. I then gravitated towards Eddie when he was a face. And then, like, if you think about it, Chavo was never a face until after Eddie passed. And then for that brief stint, and then he turned again. So it was like I loved to hate Chavo, and then I loved to love Chavo, and then it flipped back when he turned. But yeah, Eddie, like, there's a lot of stuff that so many people do that are so influenced by Eddie that you don't even really notice. And it's so cool, like, being in those sectors of people where they're like, oh yeah, like, Eddie is my guy. So yeah, it's very cool. I loved Eddie. I wish, obviously, we can all say it, I wish that he was still here. We got a couple more years out of him to see what he could have done a little bit more, because I think he could have done so much with those people of, you know, if he passed in, what was it, 06, 07?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, 06, I think.
Like, even up until like the 2010s, like, so many people that you could have gotten so much mileage out of him, and he would have ridden it till the wheels fell off anyway. So yeah, R.I.P. Eddie.
We're chatting with Alvin Falcone here on the Card Subject to Change podcast by the fan, for the fan. Of course, we're powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. You were talking about Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero there. I just want to throw a name out because I wish Eddie Guerrero was around for this one reason today, and that's Dominic Mysterio. Could you imagine how much he could add maybe to Dominic's character if Eddie Guerrero was still here? Like,
yeah,
it would be off the charts.
It's nuts, because then, like, you could literally go back to 2005 and do the whole custody thing again, but for a 27-year-old man
in a Shark Tank eating chicken tenders, right?
right. Like, you don't realize, like, that it, you know, it takes a turn where, like, you do not realize how much you have until it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a generational treasure Eddie Guerrero was, and just how, thinking about it, like, Dominic and Ray and everything that's been involved in that, you throw Eddie in that, wow. The segments.
Oh, and I would have it. I would fantasy book it where, you know, where Eddie and Dom, you know, their father son, they're loving it, but Eddie's trying to get Dom's girl. You know, I would do something like that, and just it'd be gold. It'd be so good.
Of course.
Oh, what might have been. Crazy stuff we talk about here. We like to do the fantasy booking thing, but I'm glad Eddie Guerrero got brought up. I don't think he gets talked about enough. I think he's a guy that has so much influence on a lot of the wrestlers today that are currently on a roster. Let's just say WWE. I think he has got a lot of people drew from him. And I don't think he's talked about enough. I think he, you know, gone way too soon and gave us a lot in the wrestling world.
Definitely.
And I just want to throw this out there. Everybody does in tribute to him the little shoulder shake, the three amigos. I wish more people would grab a chair, throw it to his opponent, and lay down on the mat while the ref's back is turned. I want to see more of that, because that always got me.
Yeah, it, like, there's so many things that he innovated that, like, you're like, wow, why would that? Okay, that makes sense. Like, you can't even, like, fully compute it because it just makes that much sense. And it's those moments where, like, you knew the moment that he grabbed a chair, that's where we were going. So, like, if you think about it, like, you remember the first time you saw him do it, and you're like, come on. And then you catch on to it, and then you see him doing, you're like, do it. And it's those things that make wrestling so beautiful, like that. It's almost like Pavlov's dogs. Like, you see the chair, it's like ringing the bell, and they're salivating. Like,
oh,
there's the pop, you know. It's just that's so awesome. That, like, the intricacies and the psychology of everything and wrestling, that's the beauty of it. Just, yes, bring back the chair spot.
So, Alvin, what? Let me ask you this: when you decided to get into the business yourself, what was that crystallizing moment that you said, "I absolutely have to do this"? And who are your influences going into getting trained and getting in the ring?
Well, the all-knowing moment was a buddy of mine that lived in town with me told me that Nick Dinsmore, Eugene, had a school maybe an hour and a half away from us. And it was like right at the beginning, first few months of COVID. So it was June of 2020. And I'm sitting at home doing nothing. I'm wasting away playing video games, probably eating way too many calories. And he texts me and says this, and I go, I mean, I'm not doing anything else. Like, if this is a sign, this is now. So we went up, we watched one of his shows, and then we told him, hey, we're interested. And then he flipped it right back on us and said, great, when can you start? And
put you on the spot.
Yeah. And which I should have learned at that very moment that would happen very often with him. And we were like, I mean, it's Saturday. How does Monday work? And he goes, great, see you then. Didn't tell us a time, an address, nothing. He gave us his card and was like, see you later. And I was like, I looked at my buddy and I was like, did we just sign up to become professional wrestlers? And he was like, I think I'm not entirely sure. We didn't sign any papers, so I don't think it's there yet. So yeah, that was the moment where I'm sitting at home doing nothing. He texts me and we go.
And what happened on that Monday? You show up, correct? And then it starts from there?
Yeah. We showed up, signed the dotted line, signed our lives away. And he put us to work. That first day was possibly the hardest workout I've ever done in my entire life. Just rigorous. Like, it was one of those moments where it was like, I don't know if this is what typically happens or if you're just trying to break me. And it was at that moment where I was like, just take it like he's trying to break you. So went through it, got through it, almost threw up multiple times. And we got through it, and he goes, great, see you tomorrow. And I was like, we live an hour and a half away. And he goes, great, see you tomorrow. So, see you then, coach. So I was like, okay, I guess we're in it now.
Yeah, you get put through the hardest workout of your life. You almost throw up multiple times, and we'll see you tomorrow.
And it was 3 weeks of that. Like, we worked out Yeah, for about 3 weeks before we even like got in the ring,
Wow.
which
Okay.
I appreciated. Like it taught me like, okay, it's not just being in the ring, it's conditioning. Treating your body like your body is your brand. Like if you don't look the greatest, which I'll admit, I don't look the greatest. My body isn't the greatest. But your conditioning has to be. Like there's a level of conditioning that you have to obtain, and if you can't, see ya. So that's something that I've kind of upheld. Trying to figure out other things. But yeah, that 3 weeks, that 3 week span of not touching the ring, it was like we're in there and the ring is arm's length away from me, but he's like, no, you have to earn getting in there. Meanwhile, we're still helping out with the shows and setting up the ring, loading the ring, tearing down the ring, all of that stuff as trainees and meeting all of the wrestlers there. Excuse me. But that 3 week span really taught me a lot in that. I mean, if you look at it in hindsight, that's a short amount of time.
Mhm.
Like, but not knowing, being in the moment, not knowing, hey, when am I going to get in the ring? I don't know. Like, it could be 3 months.
Whenever he tells you to, right?
Right. And that, let me tell you, that day we walked in and he goes, all right, put on your shoes, get in the ring. It was like, all right, let's go. And it was like so rewarding.
Sure.
Expand on that first day getting in the ring. What did that feel like? And what was it did he put you through the ringer as much as he did outside the ring, inside the ring?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The main thing that I can say is ow, is how I would explain the first day in the ring, is just ouch. You don't realize how much steel cable wrapped in a garden hose sucks when you run against it until you do it for 2.5, 3 hours consistently, just nonstop, back and forth. And just the aspect of learning how to bump, like that wasn't the first day. I think the first day we learned how to do rolls, which, I mean, I don't have I'm not a gymnast by any means, but it was pretty run of the mill, like learning how to do that, but then like adding drills on top of it. And it was a small class of people. I think it was me and 2, 3 other guys in my class. So, there's, let's say, tops 4 of us there on a day. And we're doing these drills where you have to speed through all of these rolls, and then another person goes, another, and then it's you again. So like you don't have a lot of time to catch your breath if you missed the 3 weeks prior to get your conditioning up, and then you get in the ring, then you throw the aspect of tumbling, essentially, doing a front roll, a back roll, quarter roll, and whatever roll he tells you to do at that moment. Like, if you weren't there, it's gonna be a rough day. It's gonna be a rough day. But yeah, that first day was very rewarding. Like, just being able to, like, I just couldn't stop smiling. Where I think I made him mad at some point, where he just like yelled at me just to like try to get me to stop smiling, but I didn't. And then we did a lot more hard work, and the smile quickly faded.
Well, gentlemen, I think that's a good pausing point for us to take our customary break to hype the other shows on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. We'll be right back here. You are tuned into Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan for the fan, powered by Lopi's Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. On the other side of the break, we'll have more with Alvin Falcone and our moment of focus with JT Energy. We'll be right back.
For Frequency's Sake has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Card Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Head on over to the hardwood with Doug Green and Watching the W each week for all the news from the WNBA. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Dan Hancock and Gotham Gambling will help you cover the spread with the Golden Ticket Show. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellas come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For Frequency's Sake, you know what we mean.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by Alvin Falcone here on the Card Subject to Change podcast. But before we proceed with that, we have some other business to attend to, right, CZ?
That's right. We're gonna toss over to our good friend and collaborator, former tag team partner, by the way, of Alvin Falcone, Mr. JT Energy. He's shaking his head. We'll hear more about that on the other side.
Yeah, we'll get to that on the other side.
Let's get inside the head of one JT Energy. Be right back.
Welcome to it. Moment of Focus with the feline phenom, JT Energy. This week, Nick and CZ. We're talking with Alvin Falcone. Alvin is a former tag team partner, but also a former opponent. I'll give credit where credit is due. He is one of the best talents I've been in the ring with recently, but let's talk less about Alvin and more about focusing our mind. This week we are focusing not on what we say, but how we think. Every day, my inner dialogue helps me frame my mindset, what I say, and how I respond. Let us all take these moments to make our mind a strong, safe environment for ourselves and our mental health. This has been a moment of focus with the feline phenom, JT Energy.
JT finding another way to surprise us here with these moments of truth. That was the inner monologue of JT Energy giving us the moment of truth there. And we thank JT for helping us out with that. I guess we got to ask our guest, Alvin Falcone, give us your best JT Energy story. Whether, I guess, it casts him in a good light or not. I guess that's your choice.
He kicked me in my face.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to conjure up bad memories.
Multiple times, Nick. Why would you do that to me? Yeah, I'll leave it there. JT Energy kicked me in my face. He knows why.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's best to leave it there.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I buried those very deep. You guys just brought them back up. So thanks.
We didn't mean to do that here. We did not. We had no intentions of doing that.
It's okay. You didn't know.
So we were talking before the break about your training and getting into the ring for the first time. Let's fast forward to your first match. What is your mindset as you're getting ready to go out into the building and step into the ring for the first time in an actual match?
I just thought, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill it. It was, I'll give the details of the match. It was me and my tag team partner that I broke into the business with, Tommy Douglas. Shout out Tommy Douglas. It was he and I against a man by the name of Austin Schmidt in a handicap match, and we lost. Rightfully so. We thought we were going to kill it. I was so confident and just ready to go. I'm a natural performer, so like I don't get nervous very often. But like now I've realized, the expression, if you're not nervous, you don't care. I think obviously there were some nerves, but I'm just suppressing them in my brain by trying to talk myself up. But yeah, we had the match. And then I can't remember if it was like the end of the match or during. This is where it gets lost. I'm gonna hit the man with a forearm, and I notice about halfway through, I'm a little high, and I do not have the wherewithal to correct it before it connects with the bridge of his nose.
Oh,
and yeah, I broke his nose I broke somebody's nose in my first match. So if people complain about my style, it's been that way since the beginning, baby.
Wait, what is your immediate reaction in your head? You're in the ring, you're trying to play it off. You connect. You break this guy's right away. Like what's your reaction?
I hit him, and my partner is still stomping him as he's starting to crumble. So I hit him and I back up. I literally go like this, and I go, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just take a couple steps back and I go, wait, I can't be doing this right now. And I just keep going. I'm like, I can't not stop right now.
Right.
So
right.
I keep going. And eventually when we're done doing our business, we leave, and he was not very happy. He still gives me some grief about it today. But I mean, come on, you're working with Alvin Falcone. You should know that something is going to happen. No one's ever safe. You're safe. I mean, let me not blacklist myself here. You are safe in my hands, but I'm a little wild sometimes.
So I know we talked a little bit about this when we had you on back in June or July. You consider yourself to be more than a conqueror. I want the backstory about how this came about, where this mindset came from, and what exactly does it mean to be more than a conqueror to you? Yeah.
So it is based off of my favorite Bible verse. It is Romans 8:37. It explains, we as believers, we are more than conquerors. Any situation, any mountain that is put in front of us, we're able to conquer it. And that's just such a powerful statement. Even if you were not a believer and you take that statement, more than conquerors, like more than a conqueror, look at some of the most powerful people that have ever existed. they were conquerors. And then to label yourself to be more than that, come on. Like that's so, it's so powerful. It's such a powerful statement and a belief system to have. And, you know, to me, to be more than a conqueror, to me, I mean, I kind of explained it already. It's to be more than anything that is placed in front of me. My mindset is more than it. My body is more than it. Like I'm able to withstand whatever storm, whatever war, whatever, you know, brick, bullet, or stone is thrown my way. I'm more than that. I'm able to conquer it. It's more of a mindset than a physical embodiment. And like, I always mess with people and say, oh, it's subjective, you know, it's whatever you want it to be. It's just like wrestling. It's subjective. You can have it be whatever you want it to be. But to me personally, that's what it means, is to be more than anything that is placed in front of me.
I like it. I like it. I like that. I like that line of thinking. I like that line of explanation. I mean, you got to be world of wrestling, right? You got to set yourself apart, correct? And I think that definitely, when you go around saying that and believing that and pursuing that, I think that definitely sets you apart. I like that.
Yeah. It's so like, there's so many people that like challenge me on it. And, you know, I can explain it to them. They're like, okay, but like, what does that actually mean? And then I'm like, okay, then you're just missing the point on it. Then,
right.
Because you're not able to look deeper than a surface level statement, you know, which I get. I mean, it's an elevator pitch. You know, if it doesn't work, then see ya, you know?
Right.
So that's also a work in progress, just figuring out that elevator pitch to, you know, if I'm stuck, that, you know, something from my training was, if you were stuck with redacted in an elevator currently, and you had 30 seconds to pitch who you are as a wrestler, what would you tell that person? And we had to come up with it and present it to Nick, and he would tell us if it was good or if it was terrible. And it was more so terrible than good most of the time. So it was a lot of drawing board. You know, I had a different gimmick before, but that ran into some problems with that because someone from television used the same thing, and one of their buddies pulled me aside and was like, hey, maybe don't try to steal off of somebody from television. And I was like, actually, thank you for doing this, because I would have just been hurting myself by trying to essentially ride someone else's coattails. So I decided to remove myself and, you know, repackage. And I am more so connected and I guess we'll use connected. I'm more so connected to this person because it's me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not someone I'm trying to portray. This is me. This is me as a person cranked up.
Well, I was, before you said that, I was going to say, a lot of times we hear when a wrestler is on a great run or they've had the best run of their career, they were just a version of themselves turned up to 11. Is that fair to say here?
110%.
Okay.
That's something where, you know, it, again, in my training, it was like, you need to find the one thing that in your life, you know, you can take it and crank it up to 11. And like beforehand, I had some trouble, but like now, wow, like I feel like my eyes have been open to a different aspect of being not even a professional wrestler, but a person.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to like mesh my two worlds together has been awesome. It's not, on, my 9 to 5, I'm not me as a person. I am, and the weekends I'm Alvin Falcone. No, it's me as a person and Alvin Falcone. This is the same person. You're getting the same person no matter what sector you're in. So one of them is just a little bit more loud than the other. But yeah, like this is me. I feel so connected to this, what I've got going on now. And I really don't see it changing anytime soon. And I'm, I know that this is me, punching it into existence. Just like, I know this will work. I know this will get me to where I want to be personally. And if I know it, someone else some other people have got to know as well, so it's just that line of thinking that I'm sticking with and keeping my head down, doing the work. So when that, that call comes, that email comes, whatever it may be, I'm ready. I'm ready to be more than a conqueror wherever I need to be. So that's, 110% what you said. Crank it up to 11. Just be yourself.
And that confidence in yourself and in who you are, promoters have to see that now and are definitely going to see it in the future as you move on in the wrestling career. That confidence, you're only going to build off of that and get better as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like right now I'm in a space where I am breaking out. I've got, some areas where, I'm dipping the toe in. There's some areas where, I'm simply just kind of testing the water, seeing how it goes. But like, it's so interesting to see how some places or some promoters that I contacted or talked with before, when I was, running with something else, to where I've reached back out, they've been able to see that growth. And they're like, okay, like I can use this. Like I can use this now, and I can see what's happening. And it's almost like like I need to get it while it's hot before it's gone, which, I am not trying to say that, I'm the best thing running on the independents, because I know I am not. There are so many people that are more talented than me, more able to get a crowd interacted, someone that can wrestle circles around me. There's always someone better. But the person, in my eyes, the person that is working to be the best has the edge, because the person that is the best, where else can they go? So right. The person that is working and trying to get there, they have all the edge. So I would much rather be that person, that underdog that is, people are noticing now, than be at the top of my game and then, fizzle out. I always want to keep punching, keep moving forward one step at a time. Even if it's, one day I take 2 steps back, I'm going to try the next day to take 3 steps forward. And it's a mental battle, but yeah, it's so important to keep that going, where people are able to see it now, and they're like, that makes me feel good, where I reach out to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I know you, come on, like, let's go. And it could be someone that's I just contacted, and they're like, don't worry, come on.
I want to kind of take a little bit of what you said there and go off in a little bit different direction, because something that that I like to ask every once in a while, depending on how the conversation goes, the saying out there is, iron forges iron. who can you say makes you the best version of you in the ring? Who helps you become that next step up to that next level?
Yeah. And such a good question. Someone we'll take it in chunks. I think someone that I was able to work with at a point where I was rising, but I could feel them pulling me, that I would love to be able to mix it up with again and be able to like come at that angle, have a match with them where I am now. Joey Avalon. No other person. Joey Avalon. He caught me right when I was starting to figure things out for myself. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's one of my favorite people on the independent wrestling scene. He's one of those people where like, I don't understand why you're not signed. Like, I don't understand why you're still here. So I would love to be able to work with him again. One person that I am really proud of the match, and that I was able to kind of keep up with was Sierra. You know, she and I had possibly my favorite match I've ever had. She and I had obviously it was an intergender match. And it was such a challenge for me as someone that I use a lot of strikes. So I walked into the match saying, okay, I only want to do one strike this whole match. Like, let me figure out where that is. And being able to like work with her was awesome. I'd work her any day of the week that ends with Y, any day of the week. Yeah, those two have really brought out a lot in me. It was so many light bulb moments working with them and being able to watch these matches back. Someone that I've been able to work with pretty consistently that kind of brings the best out of me. They're looped together. Nino Hatchett, Brixton Nash, Jameson McGregor. Those three guys, I think we all tend to bring out the best in each other, because we've all worked pretty consistently together. Nino and I specifically, like whenever we go out there, I think people are just amazed that these two large men can go out there and do what we're able to do. So I think currently my favorite opponent is probably Nino, just because he and I are able to do some crazy things together. And it's, you know, we never say no. It's always like, yeah, it works.
Alvin, where do you see what's the end game? Where do you see yourself maybe in the next 5 years? Maybe professionally?
5 years.
5-year plan, I guess we could say.
You see, I have such like mixed feelings about these. I love them, but I hate them because I'm such a person that's so goal oriented. So that if I don't reach that goal in 5 years, I feel like I failed me and everyone else around me.
Right.
But I love them in the case that they are achieved, you know. 5 years from now, I would love to be making, you know, a living out of this, you know, this like professional wrestling would be my full-time job. I mean, if we're shooting for the stars, I'd love to be, under a contract with someone. I think it's attainable. I think it's doable. There's just some, there's some things on my end that I really need to work on. And in the day-to-day, it gets lost. But reminding myself, 5 years from now, you could either be kicking yourself because you didn't do this, or you could be celebrating, the Alvin that sat on this podcast and created this plan. So 5 years from now, at least making a living / under a contract signed.
Let me ask
great,
you this.
Great goals to shoot for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Where do you see yourself fitting in more if you're following current product? Do you feel you're more of a WWE guy, an AEW guy, or even like a TNA or MLW type of? Where do you see yourself fitting in the best?
It's a good question. If we're going strictly based off of like preference, I would say WWE. I think that's my style as a wrestler, is a little bit more performance. There's a lot more elements in my in-ring style that fits that model. I also really enjoy the aspect of being with TNA, because it's just that grunge punk rock feel of wrestling. Like that, to me, like that's wrestling, obviously WWE, that's sports entertainment,
Yes. Yeah.
But TNA, I would love to work with them. But honestly, I mean, we could go preferences all day, but if I'm sent a contract, there's high probability that I'll take it, because it's wrestling is like flavors of ice cream. Like, you got your mint chocolate chip, you got your vanilla, you got your chocolate. It may not be someone else's taste, but it may be this other person's. That may be their thing. So I love ice cream. Put me under that umbrella, I just love the art of professional wrestling. So I'd be lucky to receive one, if not multiple, yes, we all have our biases, our preferences, but yeah, I'd be lucky to receive one.
And I think I'd be happy to see you anywhere. I think you'd fit in. I think you're going to do well. I can't wait to see what the next 5 years holds for Alvin Falcone.
Me too.
I mean, let's hope the star keeps rising, and I feel very good with where I am currently. There's always room for improvement. I never look at any day the same. So, like I said, I could take 2 steps back, and tomorrow I'm going to try to take 3 steps forward. And that it's just so interesting. That is, I won't get any deeper than that, but there's a lot of thought in that.
Well, Alvin, I want to be respectful of your time, and I know we're getting right up to that hour mark here, which we try not to go too far over. Before we let you off the hook, though, got to hear where people can find you on social media and where they can see you in the ring in the coming weeks.
Yeah. You can find me on pretty much any social media available: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube, under @Alvin Falcone across the playing field, all across the board, @Alvin Falcone. What I've got coming up, let's see, November 2nd, I will be in Waterloo, Iowa with Absolute Pro Wrestling. I've got an open challenge. I don't know who I'm wrestling. So let's hope I can show up and show out there as the number one contender for I think it's for the open weight title. I'm willing to put that on the line, my number one contendership, to prove that I'm willing to be a champion to Absolute Pro Wrestling, to Waterloo, to show that I'm here to work. After that, the week after, I will be in Omaha, Nebraska with Magnum Wrestling. Let's see. I think then the week after that, November 16th, I will be in Kansas. That has been yet to be announced, so I might have just spilled the beans there. So I won't say the promotion. I'll save it there. I won't say the promotion. But in Kansas. Alvin Falcone would be in Kansas sometime in November. But yeah, that's what I've got for upcoming weeks.
Well, that is awesome. And definitely go out of your way. If you have not seen this young man in the ring, go out of your way, find some of his matches. Nick and I have both seen him a couple times in person. Yep. Always a pleasure watching you work, Alvin. And thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate your time. And you taking a little time away from your day to join us and just talk wrestling.
Of course. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, fellas. I'd love to do this again sometime.
Yeah, you are welcome back anytime, my friend.
Next time I see you, Alvin, I'm going to ask you to do the ooh, Chavo.
I got you.
Okay.
I've got it in me. I'll give you one. I'll give you one good one.
Okay.
Only in person.
That's fine. That's fair. That's
fair enough. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. That's going to wrap up this edition of Card Subject to Change. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us on X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Share our YouTube page. We're trying to build our subscribers. That's where our whole library is of previous episodes. But until next time, we'll be back on Wednesday with another edition of The Kickout. But we will see you next Sunday for another edition of Card Subject to Change. Until then, have a great rest of your week.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.